F1 teams are meeting to discuss Mercedes' use of a controversial loophole in the 2026 engine regulations. At the heart of the issue are claims that Mercedes and possibly Red Bull powertrains are exceeding the maximum fuel compression ratio of 16:1 when their cars are on track. Sources suggest they are operating closer to the previous 18:1 limit, a difference that could translate into a considerable horsepower advantage, estimated to be worth around 0.3 of a second per lap. For rival engine manufacturers like Ferrari, Audi, and Honda, this is a critical situation. The complexity of the technology means it could take them months to understand and replicate what Mercedes is doing, potentially writing off their championship hopes before the season even begins. The core of the problem lies in the FIA's inspection process. As it stands, the governing body only carries out checks on the engine's compression ratio when the car is stationary. This creates a significant loophole, as there is currently no way to prove whether the allegations against Mercedes and Red Bull are true while the cars are in motion. This has led to a tense standoff, with rival teams pushing for a solution while Mercedes holds a critical advantage. According to a report, the issue could have been resolved by placing an FIA-approved sensor directly in the combustion chamber to measure the compression ratio in real time. However, the teams failed to reach a consensus on this solution, leaving the loophole open. This failure to agree on a simple technical fix has now escalated into a full-blown crisis that threatens to define the 2026 season. What makes the situation even more difficult for their rivals is that Mercedes appears to have secured a tactical advantage through official channels. Reports indicate that Mercedes has written correspondence from the FIA that seemingly approves their technical solution. This letter effectively gives them a green light, making any potential protest from other teams incredibly difficult to win. Ferrari, Audi, and Honda will likely push for the introduction of real-time measurement during the season, but the political and logistical hurdles mean such a change may not be implemented until 2027 at the earliest, by which point the 2026 championship will have been decided. Mattia Binotto has highlighted the frustration felt by Ferrari and other teams. He stated that they cannot simply lodge a protest at the first race in Melbourne because they lack the specific information required to build a case against Mercedes. "We don't have all the required information," Binotto said, underscoring the difficult position the rival teams are in. They are caught in a technical and procedural trap, aware of a potential disadvantage, but unable to officially challenge it. The suggestion that this controversy could end Ferrari's title hopes before the season even starts may seem premature, especially with preseason testing not set to begin until next week. However, a 0.3 advantage per lap is a massive gap in Formula One terms. It is an advantage that cannot be easily overcome through chassis development or driver skill alone. This is why the story has already become a major point of contention in the paddock. The fear among rivals is that the 2026 season could become a procession, with Mercedes and their customer teams enjoying an unassailable power advantage. One Italian journalist has expressed deep concern, suggesting Ferrari could find themselves fighting for 9th and 10th place in Melbourne, falling behind not only the factory Mercedes cars, but also all 4 of their customer teams. While the reality might not be quite that bleak for the Scuderia, it is difficult to see how they can mount a serious championship challenge while facing such a significant and inherent power deficit over a full 24-race season. The FIA's letter of approval to Mercedes is the critical element that appears to rule out any quick resolution. It suggests that the governing body has already made its position clear, and any attempt to change the rules now would face strong opposition from Mercedes. This leaves Ferrari and other teams in a strategic nightmare, forced to decide whether to invest resources in trying to replicate the controversial technology or focus on other areas of the car, knowing they may never close the power gap. This controversy also raises serious questions about the FIA's governance and the rulemaking process. The new 2026 regulations were designed to create a more level playing field and promote closer competition. However, this loophole, and the FIA's apparent approval of it for one team, threatens to achieve the exact opposite. It creates a two-tier system where some teams are operating with a known advantage, undermining the very principle of fair competition that is supposed to be at the heart of the sport. The political fallout is likely to be significant. The trust between the teams and the FIA has been damaged, and the controversy could lead to a period of intense political maneuvering and conflict. For a sport that is enjoying a surge in global popularity, a season dominated by a technical dispute would be a major step backward. Fans want to see close racing and championship battles decided on the track, not in technical working group meetings or through letters of correspondence. For Ferrari, the timing could not be worse. The team has invested heavily in the 2026 project, seeing it as their best opportunity to end a championship drought that stretches back to 2007 for drivers and 2008 for constructors. The arrival of Lewis Hamilton was supposed to be the final piece of the puzzle, but that dream partnership could be derailed before it even begins if the car is fundamentally uncompetitive due to a power unit deficit. The technical details of the compression ratio controversy are complex, but the implications are straightforward. The compression ratio determines how much the fuel-air mixture is compressed before ignition. A higher ratio means more power, but also more stress on the engine components. The FIA set the 16-to-1 limit as a deliberate constraint designed to control power outputs and create a more level playing field across all manufacturers. The move from the previous 18-to-1 limit was intended to reduce the performance gap between the best and worst engines, making the competition more about chassis design and driver skill. If Mercedes has indeed found a way to run at 18-to-1 while on track, they have effectively bypassed this fundamental constraint. The engineering required to achieve this would be highly sophisticated, likely involving variable geometry in the combustion chamber or advanced control systems that can alter the compression characteristics dynamically. Whatever the method, it represents a significant technical achievement, but also a potential breach of the regulation's intent. The fact that rival teams need months to replicate this technology highlights just how advanced and complex the solution must be. Ferrari, Honda, and Audi are not small operations. They have some of the best engineers in the world and access to cutting-edge simulation and testing facilities. If they estimate it will take months to understand and copy what Mercedes is doing, it suggests a level of innovation that goes far beyond a simple interpretation of the rules. This creates a strategic dilemma for the rival teams. Do they invest heavily in trying to develop their own version of the technology, knowing that by the time they succeed, Mercedes will have already built an insurmountable points lead? Or do they focus on other areas of the car, accepting the power deficit and hoping to make up the difference through superior aerodynamics or race strategy? Neither option is particularly appealing, and both involve significant risk. The role of Red Bull powertrains in this controversy adds another layer of complexity. Red Bull is not just a customer team anymore. They have their own power unit division, and if they are also exploiting the same loophole, it means two of the sport's most successful teams could have a significant advantage. This would leave Ferrari, McLaren without Mercedes power, and other teams fighting for scraps, a scenario that would be disastrous for the competitiveness of the championship. The customer teams that use Mercedes power units would also benefit from this advantage. That means McLaren, Williams, and potentially others would all have access to the same performance boost. This is what led to the Italian journalist's grim prediction that Ferrari could be fighting for 9th and 10th place. If multiple cars on the grid have a 3/10 advantage, the mathematics of the situation become very difficult for everyone else. The political dynamics of this situation are also worth considering. Mercedes has a long and complex relationship with the FIA. They have been one of the most successful teams in the sport's history, winning 8 consecutive Constructors' Championships from 2014 to 2021. They have also been at the center of several technical controversies over the years, from DAS to their innovative engine modes. In each case, they have operated in gray areas of the regulations, pushing the boundaries of what is technically legal. The FIA's decision to provide written approval for Mercedes' solution suggests they believe it is within the rules as written. However, this raises the question of whether the rules themselves are fit for purpose. If a team can exploit a loophole that gives them a 3/10 advantage, the rules are clearly not achieving their intended goal of creating a level playing field. The FIA has a responsibility to close such loopholes, but the political and practical challenges of doing so mid-season are enormous. Ferrari's frustration is understandable. They have played by the rules, designed an engine that complies with the 16-to-1 limit, and now find themselves at a massive disadvantage. Binotto's comments about not having the required information to lodge a protest highlight the procedural difficulties they face. Without concrete evidence of wrongdoing, and with the FIA's letter providing cover for Mercedes, there is no clear path to challenging the situation through official channels. The broader implications for Formula One are significant. The sport is at a critical juncture, with new regulations designed to usher in a new era of competition. If that new era is defined by technical controversies and political disputes rather than close racing, it will be a major disappointment. The 2026 regulations were supposed to be a reset, a chance to level the playing field and create exciting championship battles. Instead, we may be heading for a season where the outcome is determined before the first race even takes place. The teams' meeting will be closely watched. If a solution can be found, it could diffuse the situation and restore some sense of fairness to the competition. If no agreement is reached, the controversy will only intensify, casting a shadow over the entire season. For Ferrari, the stakes could not be higher. Their championship hopes, their reputation, and their relationship with their passionate fanbase all hang in the balance. The next few days will determine whether the 2026 season is a genuine competition or a foregone conclusion. What's your take on this whole controversy? Should the FIA intervene, or is this a case of brilliant engineering by Mercedes pushing the boundaries of the regulations? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like this video, and for all the latest breaking news and exclusive analysis from the world of Formula One, subscribe to my channel immediately.